Hey, hi, brothers and sisters. This is a preface video to my very last video, Wisdom 17, 18, 19 study. I'll be posting that on Friday, February 29th, hopefully. It's been made. It's almost 2 hours long. I haven't actually checked the time, but it's over an hour and 50 minutes anyway. And I was rewatching it and I realized in hindsight that I made quite a mistake on it. And rather than record it over, I think I'll just preface it with this to let you know why I thought it was the word that it wasn't. And so this was the word that it was. It's the words or phrase was eternal providence. And I thought it was provenance. Now I did confuse the two words. Let me see here. I'll find it. Okay, and so in hindsight, I said, no, why didn't you look that up? To make sure you had the right word. So this is what I looked up, and I said, what's the difference between provenance and providence? And I know, of course, there is a difference. So providence and provenance sounds similar enough that they're often confused, and it was by me for good reason, and I'm going to show you why I did. Provenance refers to something's origin or source, while providence is most commonly a divine guidance or care. Now, I think there's an overlap here of these actual two words that are identifying the same person. The same provenance is also your providence, all right, here. And so we'll get into this a little bit. We'll explain it because the study's 2 hours on these 3 chapters. And rather than remake it. And so this is where I made the mistake. This was in Wisdom chapter 17. So I'll put this up on Tuesday, I think. And then on Thursday, we'll upload the final video. So it says, this was verse 2. It says, for when lawless people, let's do them so we get the context. Wisdom chapter 17, verse 1 and 2, we'll read. Great are your judgments and hard to describe. Therefore, uninstructed souls have gone astray, and we have. For when lawless people who took the law on their tongue that was not supposed to, they became a lawless people, supposed that they held the holy nation in their power. And so I kind of got this meaning a bit confused because I said the holy nation here were the Christian people who thinks that they're, that they've got it right and all this. And in that is another subgroup, the true holy ones of God. And the reason why we know that to be so is God says, I hear a familiar spirit as one who speaketh out of the dust of the earth, holding my true statutes on her tongue. And she is the voice of God. She is the daughter of the voice. And she's also known as the presence of God. And we went through all of that, and we do go through it again in that study. But this is what it says. So I connected this group, lawless group, to Christians, but at the same time, there's this other group that's going to come away out of that group. And I've said that. I believe the bulk of those that's going to stand apart and be separated and be the new branch is going to come away from the Christian nation in most parts. Now, they'll come out of other religions, I believe, as well. But the bulk of these holy daughters who went astray in some sense of it actually become separated from this nation. And so there was I had said it that this was a reference to, but then I didn't go on to explain that in depth. So we just explained it here. So if you can retain that for the future video that will be dropped, hopefully on the 29th after this one gets dropped. So they themselves lay as captives. Let's read that again. For when lawless people suppose that they held the holy nation in their power, they themselves lay as captives of darkness and prisoners of long night, shut in under their roofs. This is where we get it. Exiles from eternal providence. And I said, from eternal provenance. And I had said, and I had good reason for believing it was provenance because of the verse found in Micah 5:2. Right? And so for those who's been on the channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to go into it anyway. So it's interesting to me that, you know, I did mistook the word, but now I'm beginning to think they're one and the same in this person's providence and provenance pertains to this same, because providence means, what does providence mean? It means divine guidance. They were exiles from eternal providence, from divine guidance or care, right? And provenance refers to the origin or history of something, especially with regard to ownership or authenticity. It is used to trace the lineage of a particular object or item from its creation to present day. Provenance is concerned with authenticity and legitimacy of an object, or in this case, of an heir. So so you understand why I mistook it. I do myself. I'm quite I'm quite convinced it was the Holy Spirit guiding. Now let's go to Micah 5, verse 1. This is where we get the judge. For those who don't think she's the judge, it says it right here. It does so. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He has laid a siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon her cheek. And they did. They struck her cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, no, Bethel, house of Ephraim, though thou be little among the thousands, yet the thousands of Israel, yet out of thee shall she come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forths have been from old, from everlasting. So I touched on that in the video, the 2-hour video. That would be my final video. I touch on how her lineage is actually an eternal lineage, because I thought it was the word provenance that I was looking at, not providence. Because I didn't really get the difference between the words. I mistook one for the other. And so, but it's unique that it's interesting that I did, because it says the Lord who could have guided you turned away from that path. She got angry and she turned away from that divine guidance that you needed, and you fell into your own snare. And it says, what does it say? For when lawless people suppose that they held the holy nation in power, they themselves lay as captives of darkness and prisoners of a long night, shut in under the roofs, exiles from the eternal divine guidance, she. And it says she turned her back on us, so that you would understand what your latter end would be. So it's interesting here in Micah 5 that we get a smiter as well. Micah 5:1. They smite the judge upon the cheek, because in Wisdom chapter 18, verse 22, we get the smiter in view. Now I have to go to a slightly different rendering here to get the smiter, but the smiter is there. And you'll get it in, of course, like I said, Wisdom chapter 18. She overcame the bitterness. Now we know it was the women who had to bear this bitterness upon them, like a yoke upon their neck, the Mara that came into the law, the wormwood, the system of man-made religious lies and laws. So she overcame the bitterness, not by bodily strength, not by force of arm. This is not a man, this is a woman, but by word. She overcame the what? The smiter. They smote her on the cheek, recalling the sworn covenants with their ancestors. So she's able to remember, and I discussed that in that video as well, 34:15, Strong's Greek. It means remember, to recall to mind, to actively recall it to mind, to actively remember it. So you are relying on the spirit of ancestry here, in some sense, of an eternal lineage, you know, to bring that to your mind. So we get the smiter here, right, in Wisdom chapter 18 as well, in connection to Micah. Now, when we go ahead to Micah 5:2, like I said, we're going to look at this in context as to why I kept saying, thinking it was providence. I was saying providence. And I was thinking that it was the word for provenance when the two, you know, we just discussed that. So Micah 5:2, but you, house of Ephraim, Bethel Ephrathah, it says Bethel Ephraim, I think. Though you are small among the clans, it says of Judah. I don't think it's of Judah. Out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from ancient times. This descendant, who is identified here as a female descendant, proves it by being the voice. That's how you prove your lineage, as being eternal. And I state, wouldn't it be amazing, if if you could trace your lineage back thousands and thousands of years, and I say that there, it would feel like an eternal lineage. It would. So I'm not going to really discuss it here because I discussed it in that video. So who's going forth? She shall come forth, and it is the one to be the ruler over Israel. So we know that takes us back to Joseph's blessing, the rock, the stone, which will come forth. That's Joseph's blessings, and Joseph's blessings in Genesis 49. The stone, the shepherdess, will come forth, who is to be the ruler in Israel out of Joseph. That's the house of Ephraim. And it is not a male. It's identified here as a female. And her lineage is eternal. Her provenance is eternal, but she's also your providence. She is the one that is your divine guidance from above. And if you're smart enough, you'll be able to link that to what is said in the next video and the final video. So what's the word here? Going forth. 4163, matzah, going forth. The noun is feminine, going forth, right? And we go down. It's a feminine noun. You get what it means? A family descent. That's a female descendant. It's a feminine noun. It is a female descendant. And also a sewer, a draft house. Now we discussed why she's coming out of the draft house. Baal, Lord of Dung. She's coming forth out of the dung house of Baal with the truth, this female descendant. And you prove the lineage of who you are, that you come from an eternal house with the true word on your tongue. And that is the daughter of the voice that they don't want to talk about, they don't want to discuss. But that is why I mixed the two words up. And I just wanted to clarify because I think there was a spiritual significance to that reason as well. Because I think they're actually identifying two characteristics of the same individual. A female descendant who is of old, that's an eternal lineage, an eternal provenance, and she is also the divine voice, the divine guidance. She is the providence. So here we go. I was going to do this. So they became exiles from eternal providence. And we get that God just said, hey, let them run. Let them do what they want. We get that in Psalm 81. I just wanted to finish up on this. And it says, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And I open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. I'll fill it with the truth. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own hearts' lusts, and they walked in their own counsels. So what's that if that isn't not having eternal providence? You had no divine guidance. For when lawless people supposed that they held the holy nation in their power, they themselves lay as captives of darkness and prisoners of a long night, shut in under their roofs, under the veil of lies, the weave of the web of lies that we find spoken of, I believe it's in Isaiah 59. Shut in under their roofs, exiles from eternal divine guidance or care. Right? They lost it. And so God says, let them run. Let it run. Let them do what they want. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. Watch this. So I gave them over to their own stubborn hearts to walk in their own wicked devices. Yeah. Those wicked devices were shaped by Baal. We get that in Jeremiah 23 for anybody who can reason the simple truth out. So it is about the daughter of the voice. It is about the female descendant that comes out of the house of Joseph, or the house Bethel Ephraim, or Bethel Ephrata. If you go in, Ephrata is another name for a female. Yeah, it's a feminine name. It's interesting. It's Ephrata. It's also where they found her in Ephrata. There we found it. No, they found her. In Ephrata, and it says Ja'ar, the woods. They found that house in the woods, and you get that in Psalm 132. So, but there you have it. I just wanted to tell you why I got that messed up, and I used providence for the word provenance, and yet the two seems to overlay. They seem to come together and describe the same individuals who are the divine guidance that was gave from heaven. Job says, I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? For what portion of God is there from above? The inheritance of the Almighty from on high. So it's a female descendant all the way around that was your divine guidance that was rejected. And her lineage passes throughout the generation from what we begin to understand by reading Micah chapter 5, verse 2. They'll want to put the he pronoun in there again, and yet it's clearly a feminine noun. It is a female descendant that comes out of the dung house of husband, because Baal is another name for your husband, Lord of dung, who taught his religious lies and laws to subjugate them under him. And she is the Lord that was rejected. She was the Lord that you find in Isaiah 63 that went down to make a name for herself and brought the people through the admixture doctrine, parted it, and birthed the children out through it. So there you go. That's the quick preface I needed to make, because I did do a little bit of a screw up there. And so this is to show you maybe that it is spiritual, the reason why it happened. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. Pray y'all have a lovely day today. Hope you all will watch the video, my final video, when I upload it on February 29th. This will be uploaded the 27th, I think. And so thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day. I pray you're blessed with an abundance of the truth, and I hope you have a lovely day, and thanks for watching.